Hello everyone, and welcome to this month's webinar on customer service in person and via phone. Now, last month we spoke about customer service via text, and this month we're just going to focus on customer service via oral communication, such as in-person communication, over the phone, or even over different means such as Skype, Facebook calls, things of that nature. Now, as just a reminder, customer service is the assistance and advice provided by a company to those who buy or use its products or services. To start, these tips are going to help you regardless if you're in person, if you're over the phone, or if you're just having an oral communication where the customer can't see you. Always adopt a positive tone. Reflect this in your voice and body language. Positivity will help your customers feel at ease. If you answer the phone in a grumbly voice or you seem a little bit hard to approach, this is going to turn off customers, and they may not be as receptive to listen to what you have to say, or they might not be interested in your product at all. As soon as you receive your customer's name, use it. This is going to personalize the conversation for both you and your customer. Be sure to introduce yourself and ask what your customer's name is at the start of the communication. Avoid using complex words or jargon. If you need to use a word that needs further explanation, be sure to take the time to do so. A lot of individuals may not be incredibly familiar with how certain things work. Terms such as you and C, they might completely just go over their heads. So be sure to take the time to explain how the program works and any words that they might not be familiar with or any situations that they might not necessarily be familiar with. You don't always have to wait for your customer to ask questions about these things. If you feel that they may be a little bit confused, go ahead and explain. Or always ask, are you familiar with this? Do you know what that means? And if they say no, break it down for them. You don't have to demean them when you ask if you need to explain something further. You can always ask this politely and let them know that you're happy to explain things to them so they can receive the best price on their prescriptions. You might speak with a lot of call holders via phone or Skype or Facebook Messenger, as we spoke about earlier. Anything that involves just your voice where the customer can't see you in person. This is a good opportunity for you because you can include that positivity through your voice. Be sure to avoid filler words or words that may be demeaning. For example, dude or man. Avoid using things like that. You don't know who you're speaking with on the other end of the line. It may be somebody who's actually older than you that deems a little bit more respect. Calling somebody dude, man, something along those lines is just incredibly disrespectful, and you never want to use it in a business situation. And of course, never, ever, ever use curse words. There's no need for them. They are typically filler words, and especially in your business interactions and transactions, there is no need to use them. A lot of individuals find them incredibly offensive. Even if your customer is using curse words or using filler words such as dude, man, things along those lines, you don't have to do that. Remain professional and maintain that positive tone through the conversation. Always be sure to enunciate properly. Speak slowly and enunciate your words. Avoid talking really quick, just like that. Take the time to slow down, explain yourself, and be sure that the individual is able to hear each and every word that you put forth. Never, ever eat or chew gum while on the phone. It's incredibly annoying to some individuals, and it just kind of gives off an air that you're not that interested in helping this customer. You're not that interested in talking to them. You have other things going on. Be sure to spit out any gum or candies that you might be munching on before you answer the phone. And of course, never eat. Don't partake in eating a whole meal while you're on the phone. It's also a good idea to take notes while you're having a communication with your customer via the phone. Take down their name, little things along those lines. You might get so much into your spiel that you completely space on the customer's name. By jotting it down very quickly at the beginning of the call, you can always take a quick look at that piece of paper and address them by name later on. If they have any specific questions, you can also jot those down rather quickly. That way you can look back at your notes at the end of the call to make sure that you answered everything for your customer. Scripts are great for phone conversations, but avoid using a scripted beginning too much. For example, if you're very robotic when you first answer the phone or when you're calling somebody, that might immediately turn somebody off. Nobody wants solicitations. That's true even if they call you. Try to exude a nice, warm tone when you're answering the phone or you're answering the call to let the individual know that you're there and you're ready to help and that you're a real person. In-person communication. Now, a lot of those things that we talked about in the last few slides are also going to come in handy here. Always have that positive tone. Don't use any filler words. Don't use curse words or any words that may be derogatory. In person, use documents or visuals if available. If you have a tablet or a computer that has a slideshow or a presentation on it, you could always use that. Or, of course, you can always visit the online store of your e-business suite to get different cards that you can use to present to customers or individuals. You can always direct them to your website and use that as a visual as well. That goes for both your cardholder site and your business opportunity site. A lot of people are visual learners, so having that available is a great help. You can always ask them, hey, do you have a moment for me to just show you the website here and go over a few things with you? If it's just a conversation in passing in person, of course, you probably don't want to whip out your smartphone or your computer to pull up the website. But make sure that they have the website URL where they can access it at a later time. Always make eye contact. This goes especially true whenever the other individual is speaking. If you're turning around or looking off into the distance or at other things, it lets that person know that you're not that interested in what they're saying, and it's incredibly rude. This goes hand in hand with active listening. Always practice active listening when you're in a conversation with a potential cardholder. Active listening is a way of listening and responding to another person that improves mutual understanding. If you want to learn a little bit more about active listening or you want to find some exercises to learn how to practice it a little bit better, a quick Google search will come up with a plethora of different guides, YouTube videos, and tools that will help you with active listening. Take note of your body language. Once again, this goes back to kind of what we just talked about a minute ago about making eye contact. If you're turning your body in different directions and you're not facing the individual directly, or you're moving your head around a lot and not paying attention, this is going to exude a negative tone to that person. If you need help with body language, once again, there's a ton of guides available. A quick Google search will really help you find a lot of good ideas as far as your body language. You can always take time to practice in front of a mirror to make sure that you're exuding that positivity through your body language. For example, not crossing your arms, putting your hands on your hips, things along those lines. Now, ending the conversation is just as important as starting the conversation and, of course, the body of the conversation. Always end on a positive note. Even if the person you're speaking with abruptly ends the conversation, always wish them a good day. Let them know that if they have any questions, they can reach you back at such and such and provide your contact details. Never give out any negativity. Occasionally you might encounter somebody who's just rude or hateful, maybe hangs up on you. Make sure that last word you get out is positive. Find ways for your card to be beneficial to your customer. Of course, this is the first thing that should always go and be in the forefront of your mind when you're starting a conversation. For example, you might have a customer who has a family. Perhaps the card's not going to get them the best price on their medication, but what about the rest of their family? Or what about their neighbors? Always search for a way that you can make your card beneficial. Now, don't be annoying about it, asking, well, what about your kids? What about your grandma? What about your aunt? What about your uncle? You can really get across the point a lot easier by just letting the people know that the card is able to be used across the whole family. And while it might not benefit them, it can definitely benefit others. If they say, oh, well, I don't think your card's going to work for me, you can always offer them the card along with your website where they can go and access the pricing tool. So perhaps they could help other individuals in their family. Now, also always provide or gather contact information, especially if you encounter somebody who's not quite for sure if they're interested in the card or who might want some more information later on and is in a hurry and can't get into a full conversation with you. Have business cards or jot down your contact information on a piece of paper so you can provide it along to the customer. Also ask them if they mind if you gather their contact information. If they seem hesitant to give you a phone number, ask, well, hey, do you have an email or can I reach you on social media? That is often a less intrusive means to reach an individual back for a follow-up. Thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss customer service through your voice and in person.